Transfer student experience.
The transfer student experience.
The transfer student experience.
I came to Los Angeles. I came here when I was maybe like 24. I was serving at the time, and I wanted to work in a city where I could make a lot of money and then work remotely and just end up traveling for like 1 or 2 years and then go back to school. Well, that didn't happen. Los Angeles, unfortunately, not as a fun city to just break it into. So I ended up staying a lot longer than I wanted to. Some critical moments happened. I lost a really good friend of mine, and I made a decision to like go back to school. I had told her that, and on her deathbed to her mother, and she was suffering from like brain cancer, so she was like very lacking cognizant. When I told her this, I told her that time. She remembered that. 15 minutes later, she tells her mom, and then her mom comes up to me maybe like an hour later going, "Oh, I heard you were going to school." And I was like, "Who did you hear that from?" She's like, "I heard that from my daughter." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to school. Yeah, I'm going to go." And since then, I decided to make that decision. Going into community college, I went through some career changes. So as far as like what I wanted to pursue, I was going in as a computer science major. I took a physics class. I did terribly in that physics class, and I made a decision I wasn't going to go into computer science. And then I decided to go into business. I looked at the business schools in Los Angeles. Unfortunately, the only school that had like a really notorious business program in Los Angeles was USC. And then there was another school. It was in Long Beach. Every time I try to name the school, I name it wrong. So I don't ever name it. I just say Long Beach, and people can associate whatever school it is. Well, I wasn't going to go to Long Beach. That was a decision. So I chose USC. It was the only school I applied to. I was considering Berkeley when I applied my second time. I was short of credit my first time, but I was able to get in, and I decided to pivot into accounting. It's just a business degree that has a more specialization in a financial statement. Whether or not I decide to pursue public accounting or private accounting or whatever, that's still up in the air. However, I'm taking it like one semester at a time as I figure that out. But overall, yeah, as far as like service industry, I decided to go to school because I didn't want to do that anymore. I want a family, and I want a large family, and you can't really do that waiting tables.
And so you're a fall admit or a spring admit?
I was a spring admit, yeah. So I thought it was a great thing too, because I know a lot of people are upset, like when they get called in for a spring semester. What was funny was like when I had gotten admitted, I was actually going to get deferred for spring. I didn't want to come in at the fall. Like I had things I wanted to get done during my 6 months of like interim. And I know for some people, they just want to like break in there, but why rush? There's a lot of time. Like at my age, I just kind of think, okay, yeah, sure, I want to graduate quickly, but like at the same time, it took me this long to get here. So I just might as well just enjoy the ride.
And so I noticed that you did some remote work in Thailand during that spring, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So it's funny because when you transfer into USC, they tell you one thing for sure. Like, in fact, they will tell you before you join any organizations, before you even recruit, adapt to the school first. University, I mean, I'm maybe a little different for students who like transferred from a fellow university, but for like students who come from community college going into like USC, it's not the same. It's absolutely not the same. So like cheating on your exams and like on Canvas using Quizlet, that's not a thing. Like that's not a thing at this school. Like you're not going to survive. Like you have to study. You have to like do the work. If there's any kind of study sessions, you need to go to them. You need to like make a schedule. Like I was told the first month, every single day by people, just like talking to people, do you know about Google Calendars? Do you know about Google Calendars? Do you know about Google Calendars? And I was just like, all right, I'll give Google Calendars a shot. Oh my God, like let me look at it. And then when I looked at it, I was like, I like plan my whole day now on Google Calendars. Like I will literally just be like, I need to breathe. Put it on Google Calendars. Like that's how much I've become ingrained into it too. Yeah, my whole schedule is ingrained with it. Like the fact that everybody uses it, it's just something you learn too. But yeah, just going back to like the remote work and like all of that. So like when I was adapting to the spring semester, I decided to go to Thailand for spring break, and I had a lot of apprehensions by other people because of like COVID and everything. Particularly, like what if I got sick? Well, no one told you like what if you got stuck there. So I thought, hey, this is a great opportunity for me to like extend my break. So instead of me coming back like the following Monday after spring break, which was what I originally had planned, I was furloughed from my job. So I was like, okay, well, I can stay another week, because shortly after everything became online. So I was like, I can stay another week. And then what ended up being another week, my flight was canceled. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll stay another month. And the flight was canceled again, another month. And fortunately, Thailand had like visa amnestied it. So I was like, okay, well then I'm just gonna stay in Thailand. Like it's it's an experience, you know. What eventually ended up being like, oh yeah, you know, this is like a vacation. I ended up studying abroad in Thailand. If you want to get technical, yeah, I ended up technically studying abroad there. So I did all my classes. I had to like rework my schedule for like all of them. Did all my finals there. I was very happy I brought my laptop. I actually was contemplating it before I went to spring break. And God forbid, if I had not brought my laptop with me, I would have been, things would just not have been great. Just to like use light words, but you know the expletive I was going to use. I was definitely in that situation because I was like, if I have to do my finals on my cell phone, like I'm gonna be like trying to get respondents to work on that, like just porting, like trying to port on it. Yeah, no, it was good because it was the only thing I brought. So it was like, man, I don't want to have to buy a laptop. Like technology out there, it's like good, but like at the same time, it's super expensive to buy like technology out there. So
I mean, not the worst place to be locked down in.
oh no, absolutely not. It was amazing.
I've been to Thailand; it's beautiful. Where did you stay? I've been to Phuket.
Oh yeah, see, I wanted to go to Krabi. That was actually going to be my goal. I was going to go during March, during my 11 days there. But when I had got there, I was so tired. I was working and going to school, like balancing my life, you know, doing the organization thing, like going to every single event. I wanted to just decompress. So I actually just slept all of that week during spring break. And so I was like, I'm going to make it up. So what I arranged was I was going to go in April. Unfortunately, they closed everything down. But yeah, I was going to go to Krabi. I was going to maybe like paddleboard to like close by islands and stuff. Didn't happen. They closed all the provinces. I was staying in Bangkok. Phuket was actually on there. It was definitely actually on my thing. I was going to fly there. Yeah, I have to save it for next time. Really do want to go. I do want to go back. Like I want to actually go for Songkran.
And so what are some sort of, if you are working on anything, what are some extracurricular activities that you are doing right now?
So at the moment, I am a director on the board at Alpha. So I'm the director of professional development. So in addition, I'm taking 20 units this semester, and I will be taking 20 units every semester until I graduate. So it's like I have to kind of slow down because in addition to doing that, I'm trying to pivot out of like serving. I don't want to be doing that while going to school. I want to work that's relevant to my career. So I've been like looking at remote work right now, but it's kind of difficult when you're trying to balance school, classes, studying. My classes are like on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's 12 hours of lecture. And even if I miss one day, that's 12 hours of lecture I have to like catch up on. You think about that and you have to like add on to that. And like I'm trying to give a lot of time to a lot of my members at Alpha. If they need help with resumes, especially because it's recruitment season, I try to guide them and like assist them because you know, we have workshops available. It's an ongoing process. And I feel like some people, especially at USC and especially at Marshall, they'll show you your resume at first. And then when the process continues, I think they become hesitant to like continue showing it. Like I feel like they do it as a requirement, but they don't actually do it as like a service to themselves to like continue building it and making it better. So like I try to make sure it's like ready. And if it's like for a particular industry, we try to cater it to that particular industry. So like currently that's like something I've been doing. I've been networking with like some firms and I've been like looking things up for like recruitments and like trying to prepare for myself for like some internships. I'm pivoting right now. So like I mentioned, I'm not sure if I'm going to go into public accounting. After Thailand, I had like a big like change of heart as far as what I wanted to do career wise, you know, making things happen there, like going to school, everything. I was able to do that all there. Like all of it, like the opportunity to like fix my schedule according to it. But at the same time, you know, I didn't have to stay out in the States. I didn't have to stay in Los Angeles with like accounting going virtual and like with finance going virtual and other jobs going virtual. Why can't like my career be virtual? Like even if it's like a supply chain or like operations standpoint, like why can't I be virtual and I just show up as necessary if my goal is to just guide? Especially if we're just like, if the office isn't like a production or manufacturing company, then I don't necessarily think we have to have a physical office. It would be saving real estate. We could just rent something out somewhere downtown and then like meet up there. So
knowing that you're doing those sort of projects, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you sort of hoping that the classes that you're taking at USC will do?
At USC, like I already said I was an accounting major, so naturally I'm taking these accounting classes. I hope that this will give me a better understanding of, you know, financial statements and having to like read and assess them and correlating certain items on those statements to like other factors of the company. It's been said by a lot of people outside of school who become professionals that, you know, typically what you learn in school, as long as you know that debits equal credits, you'll be fine. But like, honestly, I want to at least take that time to really kind of hone in on that. As you can tell, I've been working for quite a while and like, I haven't not necessarily been working in like a professional setting. However, I've been in situations where I've just had to learn to use like all these leadership skills and like become assertive. If you feel a certain way or you want to address something, you just say it. Like you don't wait. And so for me, I feel like for a lot of students, this is where there are opportunities for them to grow those skills. Like for me, it's just kind of like, oh, okay, I'm just like exercising in the background. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. Like I know what the concept is. I mean, maybe I didn't know the terminology, but I know why we're doing this. For now, it's like a refresher course at school, and it's like pivoting my way into like using them in a professional setting if I have to use them. I have a minor as well. I'm taking a minor in web technologies and applications at Viterbi. So even though I'm not pursuing computer science, thank God, I am able to at least build on those web development skills. I've always tried to like break into like reading it. Like, you look at the HTML course and you're like, oh, this is easy. This is fine. And then it starts going to like CSS and then like Java and all of those other codes and syntaxes. And you're just kind of like, I'll do it eventually, I'll like work on it. I'll eventually like get on it. I'll put it on the calendar. And then it stays on that calendar. And you're just like, it's fine. We can push it back. It's something you can learn whenever. And then in this case, it's kind of like I have to learn it. It's part of my class. So it's like a good way to actually break into it. I don't have a choice now. It's like I need to do it. So it's a good opportunity. I feel like it's really important to catch up with stuff like that. It's really essential because like I have a finance degree. Now I have technology. Like I have like a background in some beginning code, and it will at least get me kind of an entryway to kind of understanding some foundation elements of like programming, so I can at least break into that if I decide to go into that.
And so schedules, workloads, online classes, I know obviously you definitely have a unique situation that you were almost trapped in another country while studying at USC for the first time. What was the most sort of difficult part of ramping up as a transfer?
With being a transfer student at USC, you have to acclimate to the culture here. There is like a culture. And don't get me wrong, when I came here, I remember going into the student orientation and it was like the spring one. It's not the same as the fall. Like, unfortunately, I'm going to be honest with you. So for spring admit, you have to realize that like it's not the same. I mean, if you really want to make up to it, go to the fall one. I'm sure they won't care. However, you'll be like standing in the background watching what would have happened. But like, in all honesty, you basically end up drinking the Kool-Aid. Like, I remember going in here and it was like 8 a.m. because that's when they think it's practical for a whole bunch of like 20-year-olds to wake up and go to the event like this. But I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. And so I'm like going tired. I was late already. I like ran to Starbucks because I'm like, I'm not walking in here like without some coffee. Like I'm gonna get angry if I have to go here. I go in, whatever. I'm not gonna lie to you. I actually fell asleep during the video thing. So like whenever everyone was sitting in the room, I fell asleep. One of my friends my first friends I met there, I actually met her later on during orientation, but she told me she actually saw me like dozing off during the thing. And I was like, I thought I wasn't the only one. I didn't realize I was the only one. Everyone was like super happy and thrilled to be here. And I'm just like trying to wake up. I had like a long work shift the night before. And I think I'd been with some friends out till like 5 a.m. But like I got raptured with the culture real quick. Like if you want to have the college experience and like have a community, USC is like that. But the thing about that, it's like a double-edged sword. It's not like a culture that's just going to easily like pull you in. Like if you want like the shallow things like being a Trojan and going to the football games and all the tailgates, sure, it's there. But like if you want to get like a community or whatever, you have to find it. Involvement fair is a thing. Honestly, I feel so sorry for those who had come this fall, like as new transfers or admits to the school, regardless if they're transfers or not, like the involvement fair, it's an opportunity for you to really see how people are. I know the virtual setting has made it very awkward to like go into the rooms. To me, I feel like I'm entering like an interview and I'm just like, I just want to know if like you guys have meetings on Wednesdays and Mondays. And it's just one of those things, it's really stressful. Whereas like if you were there in person, you could stand like 20, 30 feet away and be like, oh, I think I can vibe well with those people. Like, let me go say hi or at least pass by and pick up a flyer and walk away. There's not that feeling. So hopefully next semester will be better. But it's just like adapting to that culture first is one thing. And like finding your community, you really have to search, because I went through a series of like organizations that I thought I would fit well with. Like I went through their whole interview process and like their info sessions, and like I was attending all their stuff, and I realized we weren't a good fit. I'm going to use that as a light term, but there are a few, like, otherwise I'd be using a lot of expletives and then I'd be name dropping. So I'm like, I'm going to be very polite and say we weren't a good fit together. However, with Alpha, I was able to find my community. In fact, I was actually going to start an organization, but the president last semester was like, why don't you just do it here? And to be honest, he was right, because when I was stuck in Thailand, I was like, yeah, screw all of that. Like, I'm not going to make an organization, especially online. Like, I'm going to already go into something established, make it better, and then leave knowing, you know, I helped an organization, because, like, I don't want to found anything right now. Like, I barely have time to sleep. I'm going to be honest with you. So, like, I'd rather just do that. But yeah, just doing that, building your schedule, and like acclimating to that, and like really getting used to like being in a university and one like USC. You just have to get used to it. Like, it's true. If you live on campus, it's a bubble. Like, it is. You can enjoy your whole 4 years at USC if you stay on campus. If you're not on campus, and like I'm sure a lot of transfer students do, like it's difficult, but like it's a great opportunity. It's like, even if you can't join a lot of organizations, just pick one that you really resonate with. If you're a marshal, I advise you to make it a professional one, and then pick like a non-professional one to balance. You know, there are fraternities and sororities that I don't feel like are super committal. I think they're very understanding as far as like whether you are invested or not. I'm not really sure. I'm not in that life, but I think like it's just finding community here and then really building off that, because a lot of people, especially for transfers, they need to understand like they're not the only ones who transferred here at that time and place. There are a lot of people who have had the same experiences, who can give you the same input. You just have to find them and ask them. I like to think that I can at least give that. So,
what did you feel made you stand out in the transfer application?
I am really I hate using this word because it makes me feel like an 8-year-old, but I'm very precocious. I'm very outgoing, and you know, it's funny because I've met a lot of people like recently who are younger than me by like 5-6 years, 10, God forbid, 10 years, and I'm just like, oh my God, like what have I been doing with my life? I feel like I need to go like sign up with the Peace Corps and like take a 2-year sabbatical to make something up for my life, or like go build a robot and like be able to like sell it to Elon Musk and be like, look, bro, like look what I have accomplished, and slap it on my resume. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I was there for oh God, 6 years. And then I'm just like, okay. But like in the application process, I mean, I didn't know all of that. I knew some things, like, you know, you have those College Confidential, I think was what it was called, and you see kind of like some prospects of what these applicants are, and you see their backgrounds. And for people who are in like high school, sure, it's a little bit easier because if you have time to focus on extracurriculars and like doing volunteership and like all of that, you can build that. For people who are like adults who end up working and they're like not working necessarily relevant jobs related to the degree they're pursuing, yeah, it can be a little intimidating at first. But I think with USC, and what I was really happy to feel about was like I was very blunt and honest. Like I made it clear that I was pivoting into this career and I had intentions coming into this school. I had put in my application, like if I'm going to Marshall, I'm going to network with everyone. I'm going to choose the best organizations. I'm going to recruit with these firms. They're going to pick me as intern, and then I'm going to like get recruited right out of the internship. Like I was very expletive, like stating that into the application, and then like also stating like I think also was like what motivated me or whatever. And I like chosen like my friends and my family because naturally, yes, you know, my friend who passed, my dearest friend, she was a big integral part of me going to school, period. But also just because like I'm at a point in my life where I want to start going the direction that I can guide my future children to and be like, look, I have this. And then for my friends and my family, I was able to achieve this so I could give it back to you. Like my intention to do all of this, yes, is hopefully to be wealthy and like live very comfortably enough where I could only work 2 hours a week. But at the same time, you know, I also want to be able to support them, their dreams, whatever it may be. Like I'm very avid as far as like, don't feel like you have to be trapped in a particular career line or career path. You can do whatever you want, be best at it. Like if you want to be a janitor, you better own the best damn janitor company in the whatever. So like we're doing whatever to achieve that. So like I made sure to express that in my application as well. And then like when I was describing like what USC was to me, and I mean honestly, take a walk through the campus. That is more than enough to give you enough reason why you want it, like why you picked USC. Sure, location is great, especially like attributes like do attributed to it being in Los Angeles and everything. But like it's a really well-known school. That network, it's ridiculous. Like I'm not joking. Like that network will take you anywhere. You could literally be like in the bathroom in the middle of like Africa, and I can guarantee you someone within a 50-mile radius of you had went to USC, and you guys will talk about a tailgate. To like provide an example, I was leaving Thailand, right? I had to pick a flight. I got my flight canceled 4 times. I was able to finally get a flight. Now here I am in checkout, like at 2 in the morning, and I'm like, oh, minding my business. I happen to have my Marshall tag on my bag, and the guy behind me is like, and mind you, I'm tired. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm like, just get on this plane. I don't even want to leave the country right now. And this guy behind me is like, oh, I see you go to USC. And I turn around, and this guy is like, I went to USC. And I'm like, no way. And he's like, yeah, I'm a Marshall graduate. I'm one of the alumni. I'm like one of the first alumni. I think he like graduated in the first decade when Marshall opened. And so like I was like, oh wow, I'm a Marshall student, you know, and we like talked about it. Like he owns a business, an online wellness business, and he has like 3 stores in Thailand. Like to me, that's crazy. I wasn't like out scouring for this network. This network it just like follows you. Like I bet you, like if you go out for spring break and you go to like Cancun, I bet you like you're gonna find like 4 retired people who are like, I remember USC, man, those tailgates, man, those frat parties, oh man, there are some nights I don't remember. And then you talk about that and you build that connection. It's phenomenal. Like honestly, like when knowing how about that, I like said it like kind of addressed it plainly in the application, but now that I saw it and it's well this form, it's a fact. I will never forget. It's like the one thing I remember when I was asleep. There was that girl who was like, I remember when I was driving through the parking lot and I was trying to find parking, but then I couldn't find any. But then the director, he was actually a graduate from USC, and he was like, just wait, I'm actually gonna leave. You can take my parking spot. That's the Trojan network. And I was like, that's full of crap. And then when I actually saw it in action, I was like, oh my God, this is real. Like it's crazy. It's legit. So I'm really proud of like being a Trojan, and like I wouldn't trade off this opportunity.
Thank you for chatting with me today. It was a pleasure to hear more about you and your story. Appreciate it.
Thank you all for having me. Take care.
The transfer student
Transfer student
experience.
experience. The transfer student